What's up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Monday. We're ready for the homestand. Got the Red Sox this afternoon. I don't know if we're gonna play the game with all the rain, but they're starting at 1 o'clock, so maybe they'll find a way to get it in at some point today. Get three with the Red Sox, and then we get the Rays for the weekend. So nice to be home, and we'll see if it's a little bit less of a dramatic week than we just had. I mean, wow, what a week with all the rain delays in St. Louis, and then just a weird series in Chicago, winning on a defensive interference, coming from behind, just grinding it, not even feeling like we're playing great, but we get the sweep, get back home, 33-18. And there's so many places to start. With the Yankees playing so great, finally lost yesterday with the injuries, Gunner. There's a million different places to start if you just kind of wanted to recap the week, recap the season. But for me, I wanted to spend a few minutes just on Adley because it's almost like I don't want to say take him for granted, but it feels like he's been here longer than he really has, right? Came up, I guess it's 2 years ago, about a week ago. And his performance this weekend was just unbelievable, especially that home run yesterday. Just a grind of a game. And it felt like, man, we won three in a row. Let's get out of this weekend with a win. We got to come back home and play your rivals. It's Memorial Day, and we could not get going. And Bradish, well, I'll get to him in a second, but he's putting up zeros. We'll say that. And Adley just finally crushes one. You can just tell he's the unquestioned leader of the team. Everything he does is just the right thing. There's certain moments, and I'm sure he's the first one to think about where in these clutch situations, like with two outs and guys on base, his numbers aren't as great as I think they will be by the time his career plays out. But there's certain clutch moments where it's like right, clutch is it's hard to define. There's different clutch moments, but with Adley yesterday, it just felt like, man, he that home run was needed. Crochet for the White Sox was dealing, and we just couldn't get anything going. And him getting that two-run homer just was an awesome feeling. It's a bomb, hit it from the right side. I mean, his numbers as a right-hander this year, it's unreal. So just want to spend a minute or two acknowledging that all the things that go into player development with these young guys coming up, he was the first one. So when they're sharing stories, how to handle this, how to handle that, he's the first one. I think we'll hear some stories probably as the years go on about the advice he's given some of these young guys. But man, he does a fantastic job for us. And from the pitching staff, he's got to get a lot of credit for that too. There's so much that goes into it, right? But it's a whole team effort when the pitcher's out there. But obviously, his numbers speak for themselves behind the plate as far as his defensive statistics, framing the pitch, all that. But I think it's just the communication, the energy, everything's just a positive vibe, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for it. Positively, Bradish, he had 11 strikeouts and a no hitter through 7 innings yesterday. Yeah, great. Obviously, it's fantastic. He pitched great. But as I'm watching the game, and I wonder if this is the analysis afterwards, you can't pitch like that against the Rangers and the Mariners and the Yankees and the Guardians. Like, you just can't. You cannot walk five guys. Can't keep putting guys on base. That's going to wear you out. And I'm not saying so I don't know exactly what's going on in his brain the same way I don't know exactly what's going on in every single pitcher's brain. But I do know that the philosophy ever since these guys have started pitching is get whiffs, whiff rate, whiff rate, whiff rate. Strike this guy out, strike that guy out. Don't let him hit the ball. Don't let him make any contact. And I just don't think it's the best way to coach because it leads to too many walks and too many injuries. And I think if I had to just make a guess, the reason why we've transitioned that way is all these smart folks that do the analytics, they want to have an easy way to break down what's happening. Instead of watching the pitches and watching all the games, they want to be more efficient. So give me numbers, give me statistics that I can look at. What's the spin rate? How often is he getting swings and misses? What's the velocity? And it's like those things do matter, but they don't matter as much as I think they're getting credit for. So some of these younger pitchers are throwing the ball and they're going to hurt their arms, and that's what's happening. It's not the pitch clock. I don't think it's the fact that I don't know whatever other theories people have. I know there's lots of them. I don't even want to give credence to it because I think it's very simple. I think you're taking the baseball, you're throwing it as hard as you can, which is an unnatural motion, and you're being asked to do that at a really high rate instead of learning different speeds. The 92 mile an hour fastball versus the 87 mile an hour fastball completely messes up the pitcher. It doesn't have to just be 96, 97. And Bradish yesterday seemed like a victim of, man, I just want to throw trying to get strikeouts after strikeouts and just let him hit the ball. I'm like yelling as I'm driving. By the way, I'm in Delaware here for a couple months because my fiance is a teacher down in Georgia and school's over. Parents are up here. So we spend the summer up here for a couple months. So I'm driving yesterday and just, you can see the balls and the strikes, and I'm basically watching it as I'm driving as best as I possibly can. But regardless, I'm like, why is every count like just let them hit the ball? This team can't hit. Just let them hit the ball. Like they'll get themselves out. But whatever. It is what it is. It's just my personal take on pitching is it's more of an art than just how fast can you throw the ball. Can you outsmart the pitchers? And that's not super old here, but that's how I grew up. I didn't grow up with keeping track of the whiff rate and the velocity. It's like I said, it's an art. You're figuring out the pitcher, outsmarting him, and trying to get him to hit a weak ground ball, a weak pop up, barely make contact. Strikeouts are good, but it takes extra pitches. And the hitters are great. So to strike out a guy on 3 or 4 pitches, it's just an easy question, right? You take 6 or 7 pitches to get a strikeout, or 1 or 2 pitches to get the ground out. And that's why Means is my favorite pitcher, because granted he's hurt now, but he's just throwing strikes. He's letting him hit the ball, quick game. So Bradish, obviously, grateful that he went 7 innings yesterday, get the 11 strikeouts. But I want to see him pitch better here. This week when he faces the Rays. I guess he'll pitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, probably pitch Friday. So got the Rays, got the Red Sox, excited for this week. But all right, before I get out of here, I want to do the recap of my gambling week because hell, that's why you guys are here. And I was thinking like, man, it's such a volatile week for me. Thank God I went 6-1 the past 2 days because I throw a 1-6 up there with Kramer. Then I throw an 0-6 up there with Burns. And those are the types of losses that you have a chance to spiral out of control. Luckily for me, Westburg came through the other night to make it, I was about to be 1-1. So going 2-0 when Westburg hit that home run to put me over made me feel better going into yesterday. And then yesterday's game was staring at, I had 5 bets. I'm staring at 1-4, and it turns out to 4-1. So it would be interesting. I mean, I'm not glad obviously I'm glad I won, but if I went 1-4 and had to come on here today to say, hey, I'm under 500, it's a terrible, terrible week. Would have been interesting, frankly, to see how I react to it, because when you go 0-6, you start questioning absolutely everything. I even said it the next day. Like, I don't mind getting something wrong and re-looking at my strategy if something needs to be tweaked, but I didn't feel that way. Just felt like, man, Burns got the first 13 guys out, and then it's hit after hit after hit, and I lose all the bets, but I would have done the same thing. And I thought about that with Bradish when I was making the bets yesterday, because I liked Bradish yesterday. I was like, I was going to do the same thing I did with Burns. Under. It probably would have evened out. No, it would have been on the plus side because he got the strikeouts, but he didn't get the walks, got the earned runs. And I said, you know what? Because I lost, and I guess this is the main lesson that I want to share with people. I think the number one thing you do when you start losing a handful, you have a bad day like I did, or even a bad week, 2 really bad days. When the next time you really like a game or you really like a player, maybe instead of all of the different bets, just pick one, because it's like you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're spiraling. So yesterday I was looking at it with Bradish, and I typed out 4 different Bradish bets, right? It was going to be whatever they were. It was just 4 different Bradish bets. And I was like, I'm going to have 8 bets on a Sunday? I can't do it. Because I was automatically playing Adley, and I was automatically playing the over for the runs. It took them a while to get there, but I just felt good about that. So I had my 2 bets, and I'm sorry, I had 3 bets because I like the Orioles to win. So I had the -1, so I had 3 bets on there. I just kept going back and forth. I was like, well, I like Santander. I'm going to put him in there. And then as I'm doing the Bradish, I'm going to I can't do 8 bets on Sunday. I just can't, not because the way this week was. So even doing 5 bets is still a lot, but my thought process was basically how it played out. If I can get to 4-1, if I go 3-2, I'm going to come on here tomorrow and say I'm exactly 500. If I can go 4-1, I get to maintain being above 50%, because now I'm 73 and 71 since I've started doing this. And that was my mindset. Like, I want to stay above 50%. I don't want to risk it too much. And I'm sharing that with you guys because I think that's the main value that I frankly possess by being here and giving out my picks. My opinion on the game is one thing. I don't, as I said before, my opinion, Jack, whoever I bring on here, when we're yelling and screaming week 7, we love the Eagles, we love the Jets +3, whatever we're saying, the conclusion is still not for you to be like, oh, Ryan loves the Jets +7. Fuck it, I'll bet the Jets +7. The whole point of it is I respect their opinion. From your guys' perspective, you respect our opinions, and maybe it sparks something, but you're still doing your own work, your own research. Because as you see, if you follow, like, you follow me 2 days this week and you want my address and come kill me, it's like 1 and 12. And then you follow me the past 2 days, it's like 6 and 1. Great. What are your bets today? And that's why when I started this company a year ago, I understood when I would get the emails from people and they're like, hey, well, is this the day I'm supposed to follow? I followed this. I didn't follow the other day, because it's hard. You're trying to like now guess when I'm going to be right. It's hard enough to know when, to get a game right to begin with, but to try to guess when someone else is going to be right is just silly. So the point of putting out the picks is for you guys, if you're betting on the Orioles, to say, oh, that's what Ryan's thinking. Maybe let me double check something. Oh, that was interesting. That put something in my brain, and then go from there. More importantly, how to handle the wins and the losses is what this company is going to be all about. It's a lifestyle of gambling. Like, people gamble, bet on sports. It's how you handle it. Because if you're betting as often as I'm doing with the Orioles, and now, or you're betting 3, 4 games a day, you got hockey, NBA. I mean, these games are very close. So you can talk yourself into, I'm amazing or I'm terrible based on what the results. I mean, are you an idiot if you had the Mavericks yesterday? Or excuse me, if you had the Timberwolves yesterday? No. There's a tie game going into the fourth quarter. So just because they win by 9, you're not a genius if you had the Mavericks. A lot of these games, and even though it's not the most exciting thing to talk about, it's the truth. Most of these games are just lucky. They can go all different ways. So by the time the game is finished, you got to look at it soberly and say, hey, what did I actually get right here? This is just a recap on that game yesterday. What I got right was not that the Orioles were going to score more than 3.5 runs. They got 4 runs at the end of the game. So that, is it lucky? It's a weird word. That's why I always use the term 50-50, because I don't know. Lucky implies, sometimes that has a negative connotation to it. But the point of that bet that I had yesterday is, I mean, it has to be considered like somewhat in the random category, if you don't want to use the word lucky, because it barely goes over and we get all the runs at the end. Cowser, gets a solo home run to make it 3. Then we're getting stolen bases from Mullins and Mateo and stressing out the pitcher. And then McCann hits a long fly ball. So I can come on here, and if I don't record a podcast and you just write, oh, 4-1, I can write 3 more sentences about how great I was. But if you actually watch the game, it's like, yeah, you went 4-1, but you got lucky. Like, you might have even gone 3-2. And then it's like, well, fine. If you're going to say that, then I got unlucky with this game the other day. And that's why this business ends up, it's poison, right? Because you can always claim you're lucky or unlucky depending on the results. And what I want this company to represent is, this is just the honest way of doing it. And after the game, if you see how people are responding to wins and losses, hopefully it would help you handle your wins and losses better than you currently are. Because I know that's what's helped me. You're just frankly talking it out, talking to people. It's when you're by yourself in that dark corner betting and you don't have anybody to relate to. And it's like, I just lost. I got to pay. Is there a tennis match? Is there some international soccer game I can bet to? Is there something I can just gamble on to get that thought out of my head? Having the Panthers last night in that hockey game. I mean, it's like, those are the types of losses where you really got to catch yourself. And that's what I wanted to harp on this morning. I went 0-6 with Burns. I mean, you get in the psychology, I put it on Twitter. I'm not posting my videos right this second. Wait until the website. Like, all these things are built up to have a maximum return on going 5-1 that night. I'm going to get positive feedback on Twitter. It'll be easier for me to get more subscribers. I can network with people to make me look good. I have all these thoughts going into my head on Friday night, and instead it's literally the complete opposite. It's 0-6. And if you didn't watch the game, you're not going to give me the benefit of the doubt. You're like, I don't care. You got the first 13 guys. Like, you went 0-6. And yeah, I got messages. Of course it happens. I don't come on here to complain about I get messages, or you can say what you want, because it's just par for the course. Everybody that's involved in social media knows you're going to get messages, and you're going to get people that are going to say things. I would say something to me if I was looking at it. It's like, you stupid son of a bitch. You finally pop one here to tell us that you love Burns and you go 0-6. So the next day, I'm like not in a great mood. And that's why I ended up only going with two bets. And luckily, Westberg was the right bet for me there. And it came through Westberg. Just an awesome. Westberg's just awesome. But yeah, I was not capable of going in there and doing 4, 5, 6 bets. I got gun shy. I mean, it's just human nature. So I literally went into that and said, I'm definitely not betting on any pitcher props tonight. I don't care who's pitching. I don't even know. I'm gonna look at the lineup and I'm picking one guy and I'll make one bet or I'll take the Orioles over in total runs if I really like the lineup. And that's what happened. So yeah, Westberg bailed me out, and then yesterday get back on the winning track. So I guess the conclusion of all this stuff is what, been doing this for close to 2 months now. I'm 73-71, which is like just kind of funny if you think about it, because it's basically 500 when you factor the juice in. And one thing I do want to make a note on, I'm going to do a longer pod on the juice and the money line and all that jazz at the end of the week. But for me personally, if you look at the bets, yes, I'm not doing anything above minus 150. And sometimes I have the pluses in there, especially if it's a pitcher to get the win. But a lot of times the juice is minus 115, minus 120, minus 130. And yeah, you can't go 50% when you're paying that kind of juice. So I'm very conscious of that. I'm not thrilled being 73-71, but I am thrilled, frankly, with what happened on Friday night. To go 6-1 here Saturday and Sunday certainly makes me feel a lot better. I'm excited to break down the Red Sox again, because last time I saw the Red Sox feels like forever ago. They've been playing decent baseball. So we'll see. Cole Irvin's going to pitch today. The team there's so many things to talk about. We'll get into more of it throughout the week, but I definitely wanted my focus today to be on my gambling situation. And then from the Orioles perspective, how lucky we are, speaking of the word lucky, to have Adley, because Gunnar doesn't have that personality. Gunner's kind of in his own world. Westberg's in his own world. Cowser's a goofball, extremely likable. Jackson looks like he's 12, and Adley he's like turned into like the old veteran of the team, Mr. Reliable, always there, always in a good mood. But he's also really young. He's only been here for 2 years, and to have him as the leader has made. I mean, I think it's made everybody's life so much easier, and it's great. So hopefully we get the game in. I'll have my picks out in a few hours once we get the lineup. I hope everybody has a great day. Today's kind of a weird day to say Happy Memorial Day, right? If you understand, it's happy that you're off and not working, but it is a nice day to kind of reflect about what's important. Yeah, we all got to stick together one way or the other. So have a good day. I shall see you guys tomorrow.